while I know that online classes are not the same as being on campus for all of us, me included, I think there's something that's a stark difference between a live lecture and one that's recorded and filmed. So I've been trying for years to try to figure out how can I get closer to that campus kind of feel, but then in the same sense make it make it worthwhile for everybody, worthwhile the time that I put into doing the lecture and making not all students will watch the video. Now if you're in the classroom, you're kind of forced to be there, even though you may not be there mentally, you're definitely forced to be there physically. So all this to say that this semester I'm going to try some different approaches to communicate the information. So any feedback is always appreciated. One thing that I found that I don't like to do is sit and lecture. So I've ordered a portable lectern. A lectern is like that podium, right? And I'm going to start to move into the realm of doing some lectures standing up, which feels a little bit more organic to me. Plus, I do like to move around a little bit. But for the purposes of this moment and what I'm trying to communicate to you right now, is there's a part in the book, and you may have read this, and I'm going to reiterate it because I've read it several times, and I really like the way that it's written. And I just want to leave you with this. I'm still waiting on the lectern to come, and then I will do some more lectures. But for now, on Hump Day, I want to read a passage from the book on page 17, Reasons to Learn About Communication, Gender, and Culture. So if you're wondering if you've taken this class only for the college credit, I think that's what many students do, but there's so many more gains that are made, and I want to tell you what they are and get you to buy in, okay? So reasons to learn about communication, gender, and culture. Learning about communication, gender, and culture serves three important goals. First, you will gain increased appreciation of complex ways in which cultural values and practices shape understanding and expectations of masculinity and femininity in men and women. Second, you become more aware of ways cultural expectations of gender are communicated to you. You will more deeply understand your personal gender, both as it is now and as it might be if you choose to remake it. You will be empowered to think critically about the extent to which you wish to identify with cultural prescriptions for gender. And third, studying communication, gender, and culture will strengthen your effectiveness as a communicator. Learning about gender differences in communication will enlarge your ability to appreciate and adapt to diverse communication styles. In addition, learning how your own communication does or does not conform to prevailing cultural prescriptions for gender allows you to make informed choices about how you want to communicate in the future. So this is a lot more than just a class. It's about really empowering yourself with knowledge, with perspective, and being in a position where you can be the agency for your own life and not always be the person who feels like they have to conform to something that they've not really thought about. There are times when, yes, we all conform to a lot of things in life. I mean, we wear clothing every day. Most of us probably are all right with that, but there's some of us that be like, oh man, we're only wearing clothes because of other people, and that's the conformity model. The ideas that we think about ourselves in terms of gender, in terms of masculinity and femininity, are ideas that were here before we were born and will remain after we're born. And many people do not take the time and put forth the effort to really understand what that means for them on a day-to-day basis. So this is an opportunity, a growth opportunity for you to explore gender, because gender impacts everybody, whether or not you are living in a gender that feels comfortable to you, whether or not you are really exploring the range, in the expansive range of what that gender could be holding you back because of the definitions and because of the social expectations of that gender. It could be preventing you from doing certain things that you probably would do if you were of another gender, you know? So as we move to this class, I want to help you explore that, and I want to explore the way in which you respond and react to certain ideas. And I really look forward to, the discussion posts. I do want to, talk a little bit more um, about the differences between sex and gender. I know it's well written in the book, but it's always good to hear someone talk about that and how do they all interrelate. How does, for example, being a cisgender male, a man, how does that impact the view of myself as it relates to the expression of masculinity versus femininity? Like, I personally find it interesting because there is a belief, and this is off the top of my head, because whenever I think about these things and start talking about that's when the ideas start flowing, which is kind of the nature of the beast when it comes to the discussion posts. It's not like, here's a question, oh my God, I have to answer the question. It's about, here's a question, wow, I've never thought about it that way. Let me take a moment to think about it. So that's what I did right now. As I start to talk, when I'm talking about things, I start thinking about them a little bit more deeply. But when I think about this idea where there are many people that feel that men are repressing these emotions because of masculinity. And then every time, let's say, a man does something that is deemed as feminine, then it becomes relabeled as you're getting in touch with your feminine side. And I don't know, I find that very complex and problematic, because the fact that this particular trait has been determined to be a feminine trait, for example, nurturing. Like if someone says, oh, you're really good with kids, that's part of your feminine side. In my mind, it says, no, I'm a nurturing male, and men are nurturing. The idea that men are not nurturing and the women are nurturing, there's some biological basis because women carry the children, right? But there's also the idea that you're labeling this as something that's not supposed to be part of my repertoire is really complex. And I think we need to redefine what those ideas are. And I think by removing the ideology of a gender binary, men, women being those two binaries. And then sometimes when I think about androgynous, be right in the middle, which obviously there's all these gray areas in between. And I'm just talking about expression. I'm talking about thoughts, perspectives, but labeling something as like feminine and masculine, and then saying, so, if a woman picked up a tool, if I said, well, you're getting in touch with your masculine side, what is it about using a tool, which is an instrument? A tool could be anything. It could be a hammer. It could be a wrench. It could be a spatula. Think of all the tools that we use. Why are some tools then considered masculine? Because there's certain tools like a screwdriver, which really, if you hold it in your hand, the usage of it could be very similar to a spatula, right, in the kitchen. So, look at the domains. What are the domains of masculinity versus femininity that still remain and are still perpetuated based on a social hierarchy and a patriarchy? So there's a lot of complexities. However you want to go deeper with it, you can. But moving forward, I don't want. It's not like I'm asking a question in a discussion post and boom, you have to find the answer. It's really about you thinking about this on a deeper level, and it may or may not cause you a certain level of discomfort when you think about it. A lot of things that I think about deeply cause me great discomfort and ambiguity and uncertainty, but for some people, they're completely fine with it. So anyway, that's what I have for you on Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, and I look forward to really delving into this subject matter with you this semester.